welcome back to the Spider's Web, and before we carry on with the video that I want us to do, let's have a look now that I've finished our skeleton army, or skeleton regiment horde rather. As you can see, it's all painted up. The gaps between the bases have been disguised somewhat, and we've got the grass and everything on there as well, so it's looking quite good. I mean, you can still see where the edges of the base was, but I'm not too bothered about that. But there we go, there's our skeleton horde. So I just need more skeletons now to increase the army. And next we have our Revenant Cavalry from our last series, and here we are. Again, we have our grass on there at the front. We have some puddles of PVA glue to make it look as though it's been raining, and it's mud, wet and slimy mud. There are a few areas where it's not fully dried yet, but hopefully that will soon rectify itself. But as you can see, the grass is at the front, and all what was supposed to be churned up mud is towards the back, and it's looking pretty good as far as I'm concerned. It will do the job. So that's the Revenant Cavalry. But for this video we are going to continue with our Wights. As you can see, they've all been washed, they've been base coated and washed, and it's now time to finish off doing a little more of the base coated base coats from some areas. I want to add a little more metallic colours to certain parts, and then base coating the robes and what's left to paint. But apart from that, it's almost got a complete base coat. But first, as I say, it's a case of sorting out a few areas where I want to add a little bit more of the metallic stuff, and I'm going to carry on with Warplock Bronze. This is the one where I usually this is the one I usually use for the base coat for metallics, as you're probably well aware by now. So I'll add some of this to our wet palette. Now, so we don't need a lot of this because there's not going to be much. We're going to be using this colour rather. There's only one or two areas. I don't think there was anything on this one that I wanted to go over. No, there wasn't. It's not that one. There's a couple of areas on here I wanted to do that part of his boot. Like so. We'll add a little bit more paint to the brush and do the other one as well. And I think that is it for these last two models. It's just things like that. Oh, there was this part here that I wanted to do as well. I forgot about that. That's only on this model. I don't think there's much more to do for the metallics, to be honest. I think we've almost exhausted the metal parts. But I'm doing this because it's a darker colour, really, because I don't really want to be going back to the brighter gold colour and then having to wash it just for these small areas. It doesn't seem a good use of time, as it were. And is there any more I can see? I will do the top edge where it looks like it's a clasp holding the band on, and then I think that is it for this model as well. Now it's just this one where it's the same thing with the boots. It's like a buckle on the boots. It's not a buckle, but it's wrong. At least I don't think it is. But it's just the best way of describing what it could be. Oh, I am sorry. I've got a very started videoing again, and I've got a very, very itchy nose. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to give him black boots, I think. And there we are. Now, thinking about these, I was saying that there don't be difference. I think there might be different kings, possibly of the same land. So, like different generations of kings from the same land. So I want to try and do them fairly similar, but with enough differences to warrant painting them. So I'm just making my own little stories up here, don't mind me. There's just a little touch up there where I missed a little bit. Okay, so that being said about these, my theory about these being the same, different kings, different generations of kings from the same kingdom, and doing the crests blue, what I would like to do for the rest of it, I've done blues and reds, purples I think for other items of, so we say, the clothing and the robes, but for these I think green. A nice green colour. So we're going to start off with a colour that we use for the shields for the last lot of skeletons, which is Caliban green. And I've just realised I don't need to get any more skeletons because I've got a squad of 20, I've got a squad of 40. I should be done by now with them. It's skeleton archers that I need more of. So we'll add the Caliban green onto a wet palette, and we'll paint everywhere now that isn't the gold colour or the metallic colour. Okay, so that's the last bit of the green that I won't be doing for this. I'm going to just what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just going to clean my brush off, and then what I'm going to do now then is using Abaddon Black, when I can find it, I shall be adding painting the boots. There's not much of this that needs to be done, and thankfully I don't have much paint in the tub. But what paint I do have, what paint I've got left is the last bit out of one tub, but I do have a new tub, so I'm not worried. So it's black boots, and I'm assuming these are boots and not armour. I'm not quite sure, to be brutally honest, what they are. But they're going to be painted as though they are boots. I've just noticed I need to touch up a little bit more on the green on this model, so before I go any further, once I finish the black part of this, I'm going to go back and just touch that area up that I've missed. As you can see, so it's not a fairly large area, but it is noticeable, and it will be with these because you only get 3 wraiths when you stand them side by side, so you will see this. It's just not covered as well in some areas of this particular model for some reason. I'll go up there as well. I do need to go back to the black and this one for the scabbard of his dagger. Like so. Yeah. On the top of that there, I'll just use touching up a little. Again, if you don't cover it all fully in one pass, then wait until it dries and go over again. Don't keep touching up when it's still wet because you'll just spoil it. So here we go with the boots on this fella. He's raising his foot. It looks like he's on a pile of rubble or grass or some such. I'm not going to do those straps black, I'm going to do them like a brownish colour, and those things there I'm going to do as a creamy colour, but we'll come to that later. I'll try and get the boots done first before I think about those. No, not before I think about them, because I've planned out what colours I'm going to be painting them, as you can probably tell, but I just haven't. I'm not saying haven't for, but I just don't want to be doing too much at once on the same model. I would sooner spread it out a little bit. As you can see, because it's on a wet palette, paint is on a wet palette now, it's going on quite thinly and it's not covering as heavily as it would have done in the before I started using this, which is a good thing because that's what we want. I've noticed that sometimes when I've been doing some of the paintings, the detail has been lost by using very thick paint. But with this, I've no need to worry because it goes on quite thinly, and if it doesn't cover straight away in one wash, or one brush rather, then I can always wait until it dries and go back again. But that's that for that fella. Now the final one. There we go. This guy looks as though he's wearing a proper pair of boots. I will do a little bit of the highlighting in this video as well. When we finish this part, we'll just do a little bit of the metal. We're not doing all the lot of it because it's going to make it a fairly long video, but there we are. And now this boot, and this top bit here that I'm just doing now, it's not going to stay black. Black is just the base coat for it. I'm going to do this in a greyish colour. A Puss in Boots type of boot, I think, for these. Alright. And finally, there we go. And that's that bit done. I don't think I'm doing any more black on this. So that's the black areas done. Next I'm going to be doing the brown of the boots, sorry, the brown of the belts and the, like a pouch on this. There's a belt on this fella and a pouch on this fella, so I'm going to do the brown for these areas, and for that I'm not going to use Agric Shade because it's a wash. I'm going to use, to start this off, Rhinox hide. It gives a nice fairly darkish base coat. And I don't need to do anything there. It's this one here. It's just this strap that's coming down here. And if you see any areas where it looks as though I've not gone into the corners, I'm going to wait until I've added the wash to that, because the wash may actually fill it in a little better than well, not a little better, it may fill it in enough that you won't see it. So these are just gaming pieces, they're not display pieces, but so I'm not putting a vast amount of effort into painting these, although I do want them to look good. You know, you've got to pick, you know how they say you've got to pick and choose your battles. Well, for minis like this, there's going to be handled, it's very often. You know, you want them painted, but you don't want to go to town with them. You don't want to make everything so perfect, because let's face it, they're going to be moved around a table, they're going to be bashed about and whatever in transit, so you know, there's not really much point in doing a great amount of work on these. Just do enough to make them look decent enough for the tabletop. That's all you need for these. Seriously, that's all you need. In fact, I missed a little bit in there for the green. That'll be a second. Just need to go back in there, and it's just straight down like so. I'm just going to tilt up this here because it does look a bit too neglected, shall we say. There we are. That's it for that. But I do need to go over a little bit on this one with the gold, the Balthazar gold that I used for the armour, because the top of this piece of armour hasn't been done and I can't cover that with the green as I could. That shouldn't be on there, that little knobbly bit, so I'll snip it off and just touch it up with a little more gold. I'll go over that again with Agrax Earthshade when I come to finish off doing the washes on these areas, but let's just carry on with the browns on this fella, and it's just going to be for this pouch here, and we will be using obviously a wash and a lighter shade of brown to highlight. We may even use Screaming Skull and a little bit of this Rhinox hide mixed together to highlight. It all depends how we feel a little later, but you know, when it comes down to your models, your decision. If you'd sooner go the easy way and just use a different shade of brown, fine and dandy. If you want to mix in a paler colour to make a lighter shade of brown, again, fine and dandy. Your models, do what you want with them. That's the idea. Now, what I'm going to do next is with our iron breaker. Which is this one. We're going to be doing a little bit of detail on the armour and the metallic parts. Not all of it. We're not doing all of it in this one. Doing some. For instance, the blade of this sword we're going to be doing in iron breaker. again still leaving some of the darker colour beneath showing. I'm also going to do the chainmail areas in the iron breaker. These bits are going to get rusted, as we've done with previous bits of chainmail. Yeah, and I'm going to do over all the detail on these shoulder pads on this fella. And there's one done, and now the second one. There we are, just like that. Okay. I'll move that to one side, and then we'll carry on here. Is there any chainmail on this? I don't think there is, but we're going to be using the iron breaker on this part because it looks as though it could be interesting. This colour. There we are, we'll do that, and we'll do this part here as well. Just like so. Any more areas? Yeah, let's do the shoulder pads. There we are, there's one. And two. And next is your man here, and again a little bit more chainmail underneath some of the leg armour here, like so. And we'll need to do the axe as well, because let's face it, as we said in the first video, it's going to be a hard metal, not a soft metal, so it will be a silver colour. I've also noticed in some of the pictures that this is wood. I forgot about that earlier, so I am going to go back to the brown. In fact, I'm not going to go back to that brown, I'm going to go to a different brown which is called Dryad Bark, when I can find it. That one gives a better wood effect. There we are. As you would imagine, with a name like Dryad Bark, this gives a good effect for wood. So we'll use this for the wood areas of the... Well, at least it looks like wood, let's put it that way. It looks like wood here. The pattern on it looks very wood-like, and the colouring in some of the pictures I've seen of these models makes me think this is actually wood rather than metal. There we are. We will put that to one side now, and then we'll go back to this one, the hammer and wheel. Just paint over what we did in the previous video. As I say, it doesn't take much to correct something that we may have done either wrong or wasn't sure about. We can always go back and make an adjustment. Not a correction, it's an adjustment, as Wilson Bickford would say. Well, that is technically all painting is. You're making adjustments to whatever you're doing on the paper or on the canvas, or in this case on the model. Is there anywhere else I would like to go over with the iron breaker on this? Yeah, let's do the knee pads here. Like so. Let's do these pieces as well. Let's have this one quite silvery coloured as opposed to the other two. That will do the job. I don't think I really want to do much else with the iron breaker on this Mini. I'll keep that like so. Next, the green's dried, so let us give the wash to the green, and then we can leave it at that for the time being until the wash has dried. So it's just slap on. We're using Keelia green shade. There we go. So that's the wash we're using for this. For the green, well, it's the wash I'm using for this. So if you decide to do the clothing area, if you've got these models and you'd like to do the clothing area of these green, fine and dandy. There are other green washes available. You don't have to use this one, but this is the one I've got. This is the one I'd like to use. We go. So that is that for this video. When I come back we'll be doing a little more highlighting and basically finishing off. So all that remains now, in fact what we can do before we do it, before I go, it's away from everywhere else where we've just done, so let's do it, shall we? Let's do it using a little bit of Calidor Sky. Let's highlight the crests. Right, as usual, we don't want much paint on the brush for this, and it's just a matter of brushing over where we think the light is going to hit. Like so. There won't be areas where the light's not going to hit, so we won't need to paint those areas. There's one done. And now another. We just need to touch in there. Okay, touch in there. And finally, not much to this one. We're doing a little bit more than we really need to for this colour, because this is the medium colour. We'll come again with a paler colour than this. What we'll probably actually do is mix this in with a pale colour to extreme highlight the crest. But now what we're trying to do is just simply pick out the details that's here. There we go. That is it for this video. So until next time, as always, from me and my 3 little friends here. Ooh. Try and lift them so you can see how they're looking so far. 1, 2, 3. So until next time, as I said, from me and my little friends here, take care, God bless, and bye for now.